These thieves were caught. They were doused with petrol, but the next moment the owner turned around and left. So she went to get her own sharp killing knife, but to her surprise, she used the knife to untie the thief's hand. The owner then drove away. The burglars were glad they had met someone kind today, but they didn't get very far. The owner came back on his horse with a pack of hounds. Then they realized the petrol they were carrying was for the hounds to track, and that the owner, who was riding his horse, was about to make a brutal hunt for them. The thieves are chased by the hounds. Fortunately, a small river appeared ahead of them. They swam as fast as they could to the other side. Jack thought he was safe. Angrily, he cursed at the people on the other side of the river. After cursing, they turned around and left. But what they didn't know was that the whole forest they were in was a rich man's estate. And that's when Mike suddenly realized that the necklace around his neck was missing. When he tried to look down for it, he inadvertently opened a trap on the ground. It turns out to be a trap for hunting lions. If a human steps on it accidentally, he would either break a leg or die. And then the rich man on horseback came after them. They had to run as fast as they could, and as they did so they had to watch out for the traps on the ground. Just as they were running out of energy, a wall appeared in front of them. The men climbed up it. As the hounds are about to arrive, Mike's brick comes loose from his hand. Suddenly they fell to the ground, and to add insult to injury, he fell on a trap. Everyone came down to help Mike push him up the fence, but the best time to escape was delayed. Jack, the last one to get to the wall. The hounds bit him on the legs. He was pulled back down to the ground. He was then drowned in the pack of hounds. The other three can only leave with their grief. On the other side, the rich and famous are having afternoon tea, for the trap that had just caught Mike had been stained with his blood, and his scent has been memorized by the hounds. The three who had managed to escape were on the run. They began to realize that something was wrong, as Mike's leg was injured by a trap, so that the hounds could catch his scent and come after him. So as not to get his partner involved again, he decided to split up with the two men, so that he could attract the hounds' attention. It wasn't long before the hounds came after him in the direction he had left, but when the hounds reached the river, Mike was nowhere to be found. He had cleverly washed his wounds in the water, leaving only a bloody rag behind. But Lisa and the two were not so lucky. They made their way to the cottage on the estate, but the footprints on the floor revealed their whereabouts. The young master and his father surrounded the cottage with excitement, and pervertedly sang songs to the door. Lisa rushes to spray every part of the house with insecticide to eliminate the smell. That's when Mart suddenly remembered what his chemistry teacher had said in class 25 years ago. He quickly turned on all the gas, and crumpled the tinfoil into a ball. He put it in the microwave at regular intervals. A small technological bomb was assembled. The two men immediately took refuge in the basement. After a violent explosion, the rich man was catapulted 3 meters away, and the young master was killed by the bomb. So the two escaped back into the forest to meet up with Mike. But after walking around like a maze, they came back to the same place. Then Mart saw a walkie-talkie on the ground, so he picked up the walkie-talkie and called for help from the other side. But what he didn't expect was, on the other end of the walkie-talkie was a rich man. Mart was so angry that he scolded them. He then hung up the machine, but what they didn't know was that the conversation had revealed their location. There is no way out. At this point, Mart remembered what he had been taught in school, so he climbed up a tree and looked in every direction. At that moment, he found a small village not far away. The group immediately regained hope for their lives, but when they were halfway there, Mike's injured leg began to puss. He was unable to move forward properly. At that moment, there is the sound of a car engine. Mike knew he would never get away, so he decided to let his friends go first. He stayed behind to play the game with the rich man, so he crouches in a corner and prepares to sneak up on him. But Rich had heard him breathing heavily. Seeing that he couldn't move his legs, Rich was ready to torture him, but to his surprise, Mike suddenly came at him with force. With a small knife, Rich managed to subdue Mike. To celebrate the capture of another prey, the tycoons threw a big bonfire, but instead of leaving Mart and Lisa, instead they chose to stay and take their revenge. Lisa pointed her shotgun at the old man. The butler rushes up and grabs Lisa. Mart then blew the hound's horn. The hounds rush forward and bite the butler to death. With that, they grabbed the SUV and left the estate. In his haste to drive, Mart crashed into a tree. The trunk of the tree protruded through Lisa's body. Lisa told Mart to get out of there. Mart ran to the town's pub in tears. Finally here, he saw a large group of people. He immediately found a police officer and explained the situation. He then got into a police car and left the area, but the police officer was driving a route that was becoming more and more familiar. He actually took Mart back to the estate. However, when he met the lady of the house, she said congratulations to Mart, and then gave him a large sum of money. It turned out that as a rule, Mart had managed to escape from the hunt, so he won. He was entitled to the money, but it wasn't the money that Mart wanted, because his friend was never coming back. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this on Recap Next.